Hi all, Lee Varis here with Phototech Tuesday. Each week I'll be bringing you new insights into photography, technology, art, and more. Today I thought I'd explore how I work with Midjourney to get my Gustav Klimt style imagery. One of Midjourney's real strengths is the way image styles are incorporated into the core controls of the platform. This allows you to consistently apply and develop an original look for AI imagery. Most people don't understand how much work it takes to create something original from AI image platforms. There can be an annoying sameness to all the sci-fi, fantasy, and anime imagery that's generated every day in all these different platforms. Even when you stumble on something new, it often takes quite a bit of reworking to get AI images into shape for final presentation. Let's take a look. Okay, so here we are. We're on Midjourney. This is my favorite AI image platform at the moment. And very often I will use multiple platforms. So we may start here and end up using Nano Banana or something else to get what I need. But anyway, you can see when you end up on Midjourney for the first time, you're looking at the Explore page, and you can kind of see kind of a scrolling example of all the AI image generations that are happening that are being shared publicly on the platform anyway. And you can see quite a variety of different kinds of images here. The next one down is the create. This is where you actually will text prompt in something to get, some new images. You also have an ability to edit a particular image, organize all your images. So when you're in the organize thing, you can see everything that you've generated, or you can filter, so you only look at the things that you liked. Okay. Then there's this aesthetics section here, and this is where you get to tell Midjourney what you like, and you want Midjourney to kind of orient itself in the direction you like. You start with your personalization, and basically what you're doing here is when you turn this on, you select a bunch of images, and it's stored in a profile. So this is like going back to version 6. They started doing this, so I have a version 6 profile, and then I have these other profiles, which are, you can see right here, these are version 7, version 8 profiles. And this is basically just selecting images that you like and telling Midjourney, this is the kind of stuff I like to see. The next level up in terms of personalizing your Midjourney are mood boards. So mood boards are collections. You collect a bunch of different images that represent a certain style that you like, and it's collected into what they call mood boards. So you can collect different styles. You see, I've got complex composites, cubist collage here. This was something I was exploring for a project. So I can actually select one of these styles to use when Midjourney is rendering new images for me. And then the final personalization section here is the style creator. So I'm going to go to a new tab here because I've already pre-populated this thing. So the style creator allows you to explore all these style codes and help generate a custom style code. So what I typically do when I'm using this is I'll enter in some very kind of ambiguous text prompt, because I want everything about the image to be in the style code. I don't want it to be in the text prompt. So I'm giving it something that could be interpreted all kinds of different ways. And I'm turning off all, I'm leaving a little bit of default setups here. Version 8 is the new model we're using. I've turned off my personalization, so I'm not using any profiles or any mood boards. I just want to see what happens with the style code that I'm going to be generating. Okay, so then we click on Start, and what happens is you're shown a bunch of images, and what you're going to do is, it's trying to look at this and come up with something. So it decided that timeless currents involves a ship. So we're seeing all these ship images. So I'm gonna select something that I find interesting, like let's do this one. This is kind of more expressionistic, abstract. And as I scroll, you can kind of see here it says it's generated something for me now, and I'm going to scroll and pick another style that I like, something that may combine with what I've already chosen. Let's try this one. I'll get it a little more darker. Now I'm looking for new styles that perhaps can blend with that one. I kind of like this. Let's throw that in there. You can kind of see what's happening here. We're getting these new versions that are based on what I've selected, and once we get what they consider the minimum, let's try this one, and we'll do another kind of abstract one. I'll try that. Once you get 5 choices, once you get 5 up in here, that's your minimum, and they will build a style out of that. So you can kind of see the point here is not to just randomly pick things that you like, but to try to pick things and steer the creation in a certain direction, right? So I've got one more choice I'm going to make here, and as you sort of zero in on something, it will refine the selection. Right, so I'm scrolling here. I've got one more. That's my 5th one, and it's still developing. Okay, so those are very interesting. Okay, so now we can end the session, and if I go back to my Create tab where those last creations came in, you can see that all of these have this little style reference code. So now that I've these are the latest ones. So this is now the reference code that I've got, and let's now pick. Let's test this out with a different text prompt, and we'll say she walks her dog. I'm trying deliberately to give it as little information in the text prompt as possible because I want to see exactly what this style reference code is doing. So now we'll turn that on and check it out. All right, very interesting. So now I can pretty much see what this style is doing. It's creating this kind of cosmic little environment for us. It's got our subject, she walks her dog, as a silhouette, pretty much. An interesting style. Let's kind of look back at my history here. So this represents the creations that I was exploring when I was discovering that Klimt style. So you can kind of see we ended up right here. And what I started in the style creator, and I gave it another kind of ambiguous text prompt. And these were the very first iterations. These first 4 there's no style. This is just the seed that it's given us. So it's using the same seed, but there's no style applied. So it doesn't understand the text prompt, and it's throwing a bunch of different images at it just to see. And this is just the way Midjourney works. If it can't figure out what you want to do, it tries something to see if you like it. I selected another image that had this kind of cubist kind of look to it. And you can see this image has a style code associated to it. But we're adding this to the mix of images that are going to create a new style code. So this one starts off in this kind of way. I select another image, and it's combining with the previous style code to generate something new based on the images that I've selected. This is all kind of interesting. And you can kind of see these are all the same style codes, but I'm getting wildly different images, but there is a certain style to it. Now we're make another choice. It's altering the style again. So I'm kind of closing in on something that, again, here's something that's randomly out of the mix. Now is another style code, another iteration where I'm picking different images to steer this creation, and we're getting into something that I think is looking pretty interesting. Here's another one, another style. I'm closing in on something here. Right? Here's the first one that really looks like a Klimt to me. So I've gone ahead and I've liked this image so I can return to it later. And here's some more iterations of different styles. You can see my number is evolving. And here I'm getting something that's sort of Klimt-like. A little more colorful. Another style. So I'm exploring these styles and I'm getting new styles which are based on what's happened before. So this is an evolving style. I'm getting some really interesting looking things. And now I'm pretty happy with this stuff. So I've got two styles. I can use this number, or I can go back to that first one that I liked. And I'm using that same style and generating these images, which to me now look very much like a Gustav Klimt kind of style. All right. So once we've done all that, I can go back and start creating with that style. Here's my earlier exploration. So here's some creations done with that Klimt style. And you'll notice, like, one of the things that I'll do if I want to really steer this, I've got that style code, but I can also add, let's go into I can add an image, right? So I can add an image prompt. So I'll grab one of my previous kind of Klimt-like images as an image prompt and a style reference. And this now is going to drive the images a lot more specifically towards this particular style, right? So, and I was using this one that I'm showing here is She Looks at Her Phone. Kind of see. So let's say, let's try one where she opens the letter. Let's see what Midjourney understands about opening a letter. We'll try that. So because my style reference image had this this woman eating an apple, it's put the apple images in there. Pretty interesting. All right, so once I'm at this stage where I've tested the style code and it's generating what I want, I'll go ahead and generate a whole bunch of different images and then bring them into Lightroom. So here in Lightroom, you can kind of see I've got a couple of those landscape things, and now all these different images, and this is all from a session I did where I was exploring She Looks at Her Phone. Now, these look good, but I'm always having to adjust these images. Like Midjourney doesn't quite understand how to prepare things for print. So like, for instance, this image, if I'm going to go over to the Develop tab now and let's close this, open up this. And this particular image, I like this image, but I don't like this thing. this big bright thing is distracting from the face, and it's kind of making it uncomfortable, drawing your eye. It's a really bright thing. So I use generative remove to remove that. Tried a couple different variations, and I think I selected that one. And then we open up the shadows, add a little bit of clarity, and then I'm going to create a mask for the face. So made the skin a little more pink, brighten it up a little bit. Now I duplicate and invert the mask to select the yellow, the gold, and brighten it up. Do a little more saturation, brighten it up again, and then the end I'm doing a little Midjourney vignette around the edge. So you can kind of see there's a bit of work that you have to go through to put these things together. Here's another example. Once you've made those adjustments in Lightroom, like for instance, here's an image that I adjusted in all kinds of different ways to brighten up, pick up the skin. But here's this bird. I love this image, but this bird is like horrible. Let's look at that at like close up here. Yeah, what the hell is going on with this? Well, I like having a bird there. I can use Lightroom's remove tool. I can come over here and use the remove tool to remove it. But I want to replace it with a bird. I have no way of entering a text prompt here. So we'll open this up in Photoshop. Okay, and so what I did here, I used Firefly. Let's zoom in a little bit here. I used Firefly, Adobe's AI, to change that for a cardinal, right? So I figured the cardinal would be kind of cool in this environment, but it's too the red is too orangey. So I'm going to adjust it using a curve to make that a little more cardinally magenta, and it matches the color of the red in the rest of the scene. Okay, so you can kind of see now I'm already moving past Midjourney. I'm into Photoshop. I'm making adjustments. I'm making color adjustments. I'm adding and revising an element inside the image. So you can't just necessarily have Midjourney generate something and be done with it, right? So I just wanted to illustrate that. So once we kind of created a final image, then I'm going to go ahead and explore how to work a print to finalize this creation as something unique. Well, I hope this little overview inspired you to look at AI imagery in a different way. Once you get used to the controls available and really develop consistent styles that you can apply to your imagery, you can begin to effectively steer the AI creations in the direction you desire. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and ring the bell so you don't miss another Phototech Tuesday. You might consider joining us for a travel adventure. Check out our trips and in-person workshops at our website, bobbyandleesphotoadventures.com. Our upcoming photo adventures for 2026 include an amazing trip for fall colors in Nova Scotia. Also, next year's Venice Carnival photo adventure is now live, so check out the website for more info. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you on our next adventure.